I actually cannot believe that I've never made a video on barefoot shoes before on this channel. They are the shoes that I probably wear the most out of all of my shoes. They are definitely my favorite shoes, my most comfortable shoes, and I am very passionate about them. So while I love barefoot shoes, it's definitely no secret that they are known to be looking kind of dorky. So I love barefoot shoes, but I would be lying if I said that in the early barefoot shoe days it was easy for me to find cute looking barefoot shoes. So over the years I just found a few brands that I really like when it comes to barefoot shoes that also do make barefoot shoes that actually look good. And since one of you asked me about this, today I will be sharing some of those cute or dressier looking barefoot shoes with you in this video. So before we really get into this, what do we understand under dressy looking shoes? What makes a shoe dressy? So according to the dictionary, a dressy clothing item is something that you wear for formal occasions. So things like a wedding or any special occasion. I will be honest, I don't think all of the shoes I'll be sharing today are necessarily wedding approved, depending on the dress code of that wedding, of course. But they are definitely shoes that look a little bit nicer and a little bit more, well, yeah, dressy. I think the shoes that I'll be sharing today are more leaning towards the dressy casual style words rather than actually being dressy. Like, maybe they are not necessarily suited for a gala, but they are definitely suited for a fun party, for maybe going out, for going to a restaurant, maybe work shoes. Though for me, I can definitely wear sneakers at work and I will do that. What makes a shoe dressy? I would say that the elements of style for a dressier shoe are structure, sleek, smart looking, and I would also say that they are usually a bit more on the traditional or classic side of the style. And for what I see as a dressy shoe, probably structure is definitely a key part of it, and also the most difficult to find in a barefoot shoe, because barefoot shoes are known for basically having as little structure as possible. They are not a structured shoe by nature. They are known to be super bendable and flexible, and because of that they don't really tend to use structured materials. But that doesn't mean we cannot look for a shoe that looks as if it has some structure built into it. So for the most part, I think when it comes to structure, we are more going to be looking at the material that the shoe is made of and have that look a little bit more dressy, if you will, rather than an actually structured shoe. So we're looking at the material that the shoe is made of in order to kind of give the illusion of something that is a little bit more structured. So for the most part, I think your dressier shoes are going to be made out of leather. Now, personally, I don't buy any new leather items, which has made this so much more difficult for me. I'm not gonna lie about that. There are a lot of really cute barefoot shoes actually that are made out of leather. I am mostly going to be focusing on the vegan versions out there today in this video, but I will also be touching on a few leather shoes because I do think they look beautiful for a barefoot shoe and definitely fit in that dressy category. So when it comes to the material of your shoe, anything that has a bit of a leather look to it is going to look more dressy than, say, a fabric shoe or maybe a mesh shoe, which definitely are comfortable. Definitely, I own both. But for a more dressier look, I'm gonna say that a leather look is definitely the way to go. And then for color, I would say black is the go-to color for a dressier shoe. However, I do think you can now get away with a whole lot of different colors within your shoes and still have them look fairly dressy. For a more formal occasion, maybe stick to black or a brown. Those, in my opinion, definitely do look the most dressy. Maybe a white could work as well, but those already tend to look a little bit more sporty, I think. So maybe for a dressier occasion, go for a black or a brown. I personally don't love to wear black because I feel like it just looks a little bit harsh on me. So for me personally, I would definitely choose the brown over the black, which already has a bit of a softer look to it. So it may not look as strong as a black shoe would. So then we are going to look at the styles of shoes. I'll be sharing shoes from 4 different brands in today's video. These are all brands that I have worn before, that I actually enjoy, otherwise I would not be recommending them. I am sure there are a lot of other different barefoot shoe brands that do beautiful, dressier looking shoes, but as I've never tried them, I kind of find it hard to recommend those. So I'll just be sticking with the brands that I know, even though I may not have tried all of the models that I will be sharing in today's video. What kind of shoes do you think about when you think of a dressy shoe? For me, at least for women, the first thing that comes to mind is going to be a pump, and that is essentially the opposite of a barefoot shoe. A heel is something that you will not find in a barefoot shoe, because in order to be a barefoot shoe, there basically needs to be a 0 heel drop. So a pump is something you're definitely not going to find. However, I do feel like a good alternative would just be a good old ballet flat. And you definitely have a few of those in different barefoot shoe brands. So the first that I'll be sharing is by a brand called Zack. This is, I think, a German brand. Actually, a lot of these are all of these German brands? Thinking about it, I think actually all of the brands that I'll be sharing today are German brands. I guess they just do barefoot shoes really well. So Zack both does vegan options as well as leather options. Definitely in their leather options there are a whole lot more to choose from. The first one I want to share with you today is a vegan option. It's just a super simple ballet flat. It's in brown color with a cute little bow detail. I think that bow detail gives a super cute look to it, but they also do an option without the bow if you prefer that. So this is just a really easy shoe to wear. I think I don't own this shoe. I feel like if I needed to get a shoe like this would probably be the shoe that I would choose. Then also Groundies does a couple of ballet style flat shoes, but I don't think they actually do a vegan leather version, just a normal leather version that looks a little bit dressier. They do have a vegan leather version that I think is a fabric or maybe like a mesh material, so not looking as dressy. So I feel like if you're looking for a vegan option, definitely go for the Zack version because they do have a vegan version. And while I've never tried these specific shoes, I have a pair of boots by Zack and they are definitely comfortable. They are in black, so I don't wear them as much anymore, but they are a nice shoe brand. So then something else that I tend to think of when we are talking a little bit more dressy shoes is your typical like Brogue style wingtip lace-up shoe. So the typical classic shoe, in my opinion. These are going to be working well for both men and women. And yeah, so in this category, Zack actually does make wingtip shoes, as well as they have shoes with some broguing. So those definitely look beautifully classy and dressy. I think as of right now, they just do them in leather though, which is so unfortunate. Otherwise, this is the type of shoe that I would usually wear before going to barefoot shoes. So I am so sad that I have not been able to find a vegan version of this. I really still hope that Feel Grounds is going to be coming out with one at some point. Which brings me to the other recommendation I have for you in this category, and that's the Feel Grounds Original Looks. This is basically just a really sleek sneaker. I only have them in white and they are really looking not so great right now. They are so dirty because I'm now mostly using them for the park. But they do them in different colors, and especially like the black is going to be looking quite dressy, and I feel like you could totally get away with wearing those. Maybe you could switch out the laces, which they use a flat lace for their shoes, for a round lace. For some reason I feel like that tends to look a little bit more dressy already. But basically any sleek looking shoe is going to work. Now something to keep in mind, if the sole of the shoe is white as opposed to maybe a black or like the same color of the shoe, it's automatically going to be looking a little bit more sporty. So depending on how strict you are with this dress code, you may or may not want to look out for that and keep that in mind. Personally, I like the slightly more relaxed touch that a white colored sole gives to a shoe like this, but it's definitely up to you in this case. So good. So let's have a look at loafers. I think a loafer is definitely a nice dressier shoe and something that may not be the easiest thing to find in a barefoot shoe. Now I found a version that I actually really love and I feel like is a great alternative to a loafer, and it's these. So these are the drop top by Fieldgrounds. This is in their luxe material, so it's the faux leather. Fieldgrounds is actually a brand that just does vegan shoes, and these are so nice. I love these. I feel like these are a beautiful alternative to a loafer. They kind of have that loafer look because of the, well, just the shape of the shoe. Just super sleek, minimal, and definitely you can dress these up. Super comfy. I think out of the brands that I'm sharing today, Fieldgrounds is gonna have to be my favorite. I own several pairs of Fieldgrounds shoes and I have worn through several pairs of Fieldgrounds shoes. I just love their shoes. They are so comfortable. If you ask me, they probably have the best barefooty feeling of the brands that I've shared today. Highly recommend those. And then I also think Zak actually does a couple of loafer style shoes, but again, not so much in the vegan version. So for a vegan loafer, I think the Fieldgrounds drop top in the luxe material is going to be a great option. Then I would quickly like to touch on boots. Again, I'm going to be sharing a pair of boots by Fieldgrounds. So I feel like a Chelsea boot is definitely a good, more dressy option when it comes to boots. I have these by Fieldgrounds. Now, I'm gonna be honest, these are not the dressiest Chelsea style boots that you're going to be finding within the barefoot situation, but they are the best version that I could find in a vegan brown color. Again, I love Fieldgrounds. They are so comfortable, so I would definitely recommend just that brand. I think they look great. What makes them slightly less so dressy, I guess, is this. Like this raised rubber part up on the front makes them look a little bit more robust, as well as the raised part on the back here. So that does make them look slightly less dressy in my opinion. But then again, I have still definitely worn these in restaurants. I've worn these to the theater, so honestly, you can definitely dress them up if you like. They're just going to look slightly yeah, more on the casual side of a dressier shoe again. But yeah, absolutely great shoe. Love these, highly recommend these. And then if you are okay with wearing leather, Zak also again does a few beautiful, slightly more dressy looking Chelsea style boots. And I think Groundies also does some. So if you are okay with leather, those could be options as well. For a vegan version though, I think those that I shared with you are beautiful. They kind of remind me of a Blundstone a little bit, which here in the Netherlands at least is a super popular Chelsea boot. So yeah. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you are sandals. So the nature of a sandal is not super dressy to begin with, but there are definitely dressier options out there. The sandals that I personally own are by High Heels, and I would highly recommend those. Those are so beautiful. And they actually have different options of wearing them. So you can wear them as more of like a slip-on sandal, which is how I usually wear mine. I also have the ties to make them, like, to tie them around your leg basically, which can be cute. But you also have an option to add the Y-strap, which makes it more of your typical sandal. So you have a lot of options with those, and I think they look fairly dressy for a sandal. And then also again, Zak does some beautiful sandals that again look a little bit more polished, I guess. Fieldgrounds also does some sandals, but they are not as dressy. I feel like those are more towards your typical like Birkenstock style sandals. So if you're looking for a alternative for those, heel grounds would be a great way to go. But if you're looking for a slightly more cute looking dressy style sandal, I think high heels is a great option, and also Zak does some beautiful versions as well. So that is what I have for you today. So those are the dressier, cuter looking shoes that I wanted to share with you today. I hope this was helpful for you. Also, if you have recommendations for dressier, cute looking, preferably vegan barefoot shoes, do let me know. I am always open to those suggestions, so let's help each other out. If this was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. I wish you a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!